When Mitch asked his dying Professor Maury what he regretted most, he expected a long list of missed opportunities and failures. But Maury said he had almost no regrets. Why? Not because his life was perfect, but because he'd lived according to his own values, not someone else's. He taught Mitch that the people who die with the most regret aren't those who failed, but those who succeeded at all the wrong things. So how do you live a life that won't haunt you later? During one of their Tuesday sessions, Mitch brought up the topic of regret. He was thinking about his own postponed dreams. He'd wanted to be a musician and write meaningful things. Instead, he was chasing career milestones and financial security, always telling himself he'd get to the important stuff later. He asked Maury, "What do you regret?" Maury thought for a moment and replied, "I don't have many regrets, Mitch. Not because I did everything right, but because I tried to live honestly with myself." This confused Mitch. Maury was dying from a terrible disease. Surely there were things he wished he'd done differently. Maury then explained the real source of regret. He said, "Regret doesn't come from making mistakes or failing. It comes from not being honest with yourself about what you truly wanted." He described people who spent decades in careers they hated, who put work ahead of love, or who never told their parents they loved them. These people accumulated massive regret, not because they failed, but because they succeeded at things that didn't actually matter to them. Maury avoided this trap by regularly asking himself, "Am I being honest? Am I living according to my values or someone else's?" When the answer was uncomfortable, he made a change. He chose teaching over higher-paying jobs because it aligned with his values. He prioritized his relationships over achievements. He said, "I love you" whenever he felt it. Then, Maury looked directly at Mitch and said, "The biggest regret people have on their deathbed is not that they failed, it's that they never tried to live honestly. They played it safe and did what was expected, postponing authentic living until a someday that never came." He told Mitch, "You're postponing your life right now. You tell yourself you'll pursue meaning later, after you're more successful, after you have more money. But later is a promise you might not be able to keep." Mitch felt this hit home. He'd been putting off everything that truly mattered: calling his brother, writing something meaningful, being vulnerable with his wife, all because work was too busy. But work was always busy. Later was just an excuse to avoid being honest with himself. Maury's lack of regret came from a lifetime of honesty. When his values and his life didn't align, he changed his life. This conversation forced Mitch to take inventory of his own life. What was he postponing? What would he regret if he died tomorrow? The answer was uncomfortable. Almost everything meaningful was on hold for a career that didn't fulfill him. He started making changes to align his life with his real values before it was too late. Maury proved that regret is the tax you pay for being dishonest with yourself. Live according to your actual values now, or spend your final days regretting the life you postponed. The core lesson is this: the deepest regrets come not from failure, but from succeeding at the wrong things or constantly putting off what truly matters. Maury had minimal regrets, even while dying young, because he lived by his own examined values. He explained that people build up regret by telling themselves later for meaningful pursuits while chasing safety and status now. He confronted Mitch directly. Later is a promise you might not be able to keep, and this dishonesty with yourself creates